You guys missed it last night. PFL had a pretty solid New York event, and one of the highlights was Usman Nurmagomedov in the main event, getting the finish over Archie Colgan. I'm actually going to show you the highlights here. I don't think they'll boot me off. PFL is a little bit more friendly with the highlights compared to the UFC. So I'll show you the finish, but after there's this exchange with Jake Paul and Usman Nurmagomedov, and obviously Jake Paul now with PFL, with the merger, with MVP, with PFL, did a video on this the other day. And the whole thing it was just awkward. I think if anything, it hurt, the brand as a whole. So we'll watch that in a sec, but I'll show you the highlight finish here by Usman Nurmagomedov. And then I'll also mention, which is sort of a key thing here, Usman's a free agent, basically. This was the last fight on his contract. And if you're PFL, you got to do everything in your power to try and keep him in here. I'll talk about the sort of the landscape of that in a second here, but here's the finish from Usman Nurmagomedov on Archie Colgan. I'm not going to have the audio there because maybe they'll see that one, but yeah, it was a quick fight. And Archie was undefeated going into this matchup, 13-0, but Usman's striking was just on point here. You can see it, very precise, accurate, good kicks. The kick is sort of what led to the beginning of the end there for Archie Colgan. And Justin Gaethje in the corner as well, which I'll mention that later too, because Jake Paul says some things about Justin Gaethje, which it's, kind of funny. Anyways, did they show, this is the whole fight. Let me just fast forward. Okay, so I kind of skipped ahead there, but you'll see the finish here. And it was beautiful. Nice uppercut, knocks him down, and then goes for the kill. And it's over. We got a new champ. So you think, okay, perfect scenario for Usman, right? He's going to enter free agency off this huge win. A lot of people want to see him in the UFC. They want to see him challenged. So a lot of people last night saying this is the best lightweight in the world. I got some thoughts on that, but here's the post-fight. Now, you think with Jake Paul coming into the fold, you would say something like, look, great performance. We're going to pay you a lot. Remember, Jake's always been fighters first, and the UFC doesn't pay their fighters enough. You think Jake Paul would say something like that? Or maybe Jake Paul says something along the lines of, hey, don't worry, we're going to take good care of you. There's no reason to go to the UFC. We're going to have plenty of challenges for you here. But no, we had the exact opposite happen. Here is Jake Paul chiming in on Usman's performance here after Dan Hardy's talking to him. Check this out.
For MVP and PFL, yeah?
With your winner.
How much you want?
Okay, congrats for MVP and PFL, yeah? Yes, this is first of all. What about the bonus, brother? First round, knockout.
Here's what we say.
So he says he's got a big smile on his face. What about the bonus? This is where Jake should just step in and say, yes, you're right. This was an A+ performance. Like, he doesn't even have a scratch on him. If you ever needed a case to have a bonus in a fight, this is this fight to do it. So this is where Jake could have won everyone over. And by the way, Jake Paul was booed the whole night. A lot of people don't like Jake Paul for a variety of different reasons, but what a way to win the fans over than saying, yes, I'll give you your bonus. Here we go. We're going to take care of you. You don't even have to say how much it's going to be. Just say, hey, we're going to pay you your bonus. And then everyone's happy. But no, Jake Paul does this, and this is a complete disaster.
Next fight, we're watching. Everyone tune in. Next fight, if you get a knockout, I buy you a car.
Next fight. There might not be I'll just say it right now. There's not going to be a next fight, Jake. He's not going to stay with the PFL. This is your opportunity. And you said, well, next fight. Now, look, maybe because they bought PFL, this card doesn't count on their payroll or whatever. But the public doesn't need to know that. You just say, we're going to take care of you. We'll get a bonus. We'll figure it out with John Martin. Whatever you need to say at this point to make him happy. But your response is, next fight, I'll buy you a car. Okay, so a couple things about this. Like, I don't know. I would assume Jake Paul knows that Usman's a free agent. I would assume that. If he doesn't, then that's a really big miss when it comes to purchasing a company that one of your biggest stars you don't know the current contract status of. So there's that. I do wonder that. Part of me thinks maybe he doesn't know that. That's why he's saying next fight. If he does know that Usman's a free agent and he's saying next fight, then what an arrogant response, just assuming you're going to be able to keep him. I think that's in poor taste too. So I think either way, whatever Jake Paul really knows or feels, he's not looking great here. So next fight, I'm going to buy you a car. Yeah, that's nice. That's great. But like, Jake, there's not going to be a next fight. I think he's going to the UFC. I'll tell you more in a sec, but let's watch the rest of this.
Brother, let's talk about today because we don't know what's gonna tomorrow.
But we want the future.
But we want the future. Oh my God. And look at his head go down as he does this. He's like, I think he partially knows like, I kind of just screwed up there.
We want the future.
There's the head nod there, knowing that I probably should have said something a bit better.
Come on. Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Hey, you might get the bonus. Come on.
Okay,
You
thank you.
might get the bonus, dude. Now he's doubling down and saying you might get the bonus. Why do you say he is getting the bonus? Even if he's full of crap, he could have just lied to everyone that's watching this event and could have lied and said, I'm going to give you the bonus and not give the bonus. And that's still better than saying, I might give you the bonus. Come on, Jake. You've been around promotions. You've done boxing fights. You know how this works. Who told him it was a good idea to go on the mic and do this? I think this hurts everything. I think this looks bad. This is just, yeah, terrible here.
Usman, I've got to ask you, how do you keep improving? That was, again, a level up above your performance
practice is
previously.
for.
You get better every single time.
So I think that's it. I don't know if Jake says anything else. Oh, yeah, he does. He says something about Gaethje in here, I think. Hold on.
Like nobody in the world 155, you know? Only one guy. Islam Makhachev, he pushed more than me. But the result is coming.
These replays to strike him. So,
This is why we...
Okay, here we go.
you think you can do better? Jake, what do you say?
Honestly, I'm impressed, and yeah, like, this is what makes him different. This is why we're invested in
And you can hear the crowd booing him like crazy. Like that. Those boos are not for Usman. They're for Jake Paul.
his whole team. This is why we love this sport. This is why we're backing him. This is why we're here tonight. I love the boos. I love the hate. It fuels everything that we're doing. This is the guy. Everyone can be mad at me. It's so fun.
Okay, so I also don't like this. Like, okay, yes, you know, if you're the rule in a comedy club is if you're getting heckled, you got to address the heckler, otherwise it's going to keep going. Jake's kind of doing the same thing here with the crowd, but don't make it about you. Make it about Usman. You flip the script by saying, "Hey, don't boo. Look at Usman's performance. You can boo me all you want, but cheer on Usman." Change the crowd's tone here. Come on, Jake. You know this. Like promoter 101. Get the negativity off you. Get it on Usman here. Even Usman, look at his face. He's probably like, Jesus Christ, how much longer do I got to sit here listening to this guy yap as he's dressed as like Samuel L. Jackson from like the 90s right now with the backwards paperboy hat. Yeah, so I don't like Jake making this about him. This is about Usman's moment right now. He won this huge fight.
Funny, like, yo, this shit is so funny to me. This is the guy. This is the center of attention.
There we go. Should have said that to start.
They can boo me, but look at this guy. Look at what he's doing. Channel this energy, channel this hate into what he's doing. We're backing in. PFL
Channel this hate into him. I don't think that's what you meant to say.
just turned into MVP. This guy is on a different platform. He's the best in the fucking world.
That's
He's
fine.
the best in the world. Justin Gaethje's over there. Honestly, I think he would make light work of Gaethje,
So I know people will be mad at that, and like again, I still think the verdict's out on how good Usman really is. I think there's a lot of promise. I think he could be a UFC champion. I'm willing to have that argument. That's fine. And I don't mind Jake saying this because listen, promoters have to lie to the audience. You have to. You have to say things like, "We have the best fighter in the world. We have this and that." I don't mind him saying that. I'm sure there's people watching this being, well, "What do you mean Gaethje would beat him?" Although Usman does have a pretty big fan base, maybe we would get the opposite. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out that good promoter talk is up and playing up your fighters. So that's good that he said he would beat Gaethje.
I love you, Justin, but
Usman, talk to me about what comes next for you.
We'll see.
Justin Gaethje.
Okay, and he says, "What's next, Justin Gaethje?" I don't think he meant to say that. If you're saying what's next, Justin Gaethje, are you saying, "Hey, you're out of here. You're gonna go fight Gaethje in the UFC"? Like again, Jake doesn't know what he's doing.
We'll see what's going on. It was my last fight, and MVP, they always trash talk a little bit about Dana. He doesn't pay. Now we're gonna see how they wanna pay.
Great response here, by the way. Great response. And even Jake's kind of like, he got me. Because it's true. That's all Jake Paul talks about is how the UFC fighters are underpaid. They paid the fighters more, all that stuff. And now Usman's calling his bluff. I thought Usman played this perfectly, by the way. He didn't get upset by the stuff that Jake Paul said. He just pushed for the bonus, all this. Like Usman A+ performance, Jake Paul F performance here in this post-fight thing. And yeah, he's right. Like he should get a bonus for this performance, in my opinion.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Okay, so that's pretty much it. Okay, so let's get to the reality of this. Usman's not coming back. I'm almost positive. The whole thing was of why he signed with Bellator in the first place that a lot of people are forgetting about was because Islam was champion at lightweight. Well, Islam moved up to 170. That's a new division. So that title right now is being held by Gaethje. It's completely wide open now. Usman Nurmagomedov, if he, you can give him all the money in the world, but like he would just be wasting away his career because unfortunately, and listen, I love PFL and I love what they're doing. And I was even kind of defending PFL the other day when people are like, oh, another promotion's going to fail. I want more MMA. I think it's good. However, I don't want to see a guy who, in my opinion, has paid his dues with PFL, and I don't want to see him fight subpar competition. I want to see him in there with Oliveira and Holloway and Gaethje and all these really good fighters in the UFC. I want to see him test it because I don't know how good he is. Again, a lot of people last night rushing to their, to do a reaction on this fight and saying, oh, Usman Nurmagomedov is the best lightweight in the world. He might be, but you are guessing at this point because Archie Colgan, no offense, is not a top 15 lightweight, most likely, right? He was undefeated, but again, if you look at who Usman's fought, again, Alfie Davis, Paul Hughes looks pretty legit. I think he would be like a top 15 guy. I think Archie Colgan, even though he was undefeated, if you look at some of the opposition he's fought, did beat JJ Wilson, who's 11-1, 22-6. I guess it's okay. I don't know. I wasn't like overly sold on him, and he wasn't like amazing. Like, he wasn't like really lighting the world on fire or anything like that. And maybe he comes over to the UFC and we see it. He's a little bit older too at 31. So I don't know. I still have some questions. I think though finishing him was, this is what you need to do. That was kind of my gripe with Usman earlier in his career when you're going to a decision with Brent Primus. I mean, that was a decision win. Shelby decision, Paul Hughes decision. Paul Hughes, we can, again, younger guy. Actually, is he same age? Yeah, he's 29. So same age as Usman. I just wanted to see some more finishes there as well. But yeah, and then here's the other thing that Jake didn't do. And again, this is something that I think PFL should have prepped him on. Give him an idea of if he does stay, who he's going to fight. Like, who are the contenders waiting in the rings? He can't fight Paul Hughes anymore. That ship has sailed. Is there anyone? Like, I can't even think off the top of my head who would be a challenger to Usman right now in the division. Who deserves the next title shot? I have no idea. And if he does leave, who's going to fight for a vacant title? I would imagine it's Paul Hughes against someone. I don't know. But none of that has really been answered at this point. So that's the other thing. Like, who would Usman even fight? I think he's going to the UFC. UFC could give him a decent contract. I think he'd still take it at this point. I think he wants to be challenged. I know a lot of people have said too, like, oh, the Dagestanis, they don't care about money and all this stuff. I mean, he mentioned that he, wants to help out his family and all that. I don't think money's the be all end all, but I also think there's a lot of pride in the Nurmagomedov name, and I think he wants to be challenged, and I think he will go to the UFC next. That's just my bet. I might be wrong about this. I'll gladly come on here if he resigns and eat some egg on my face if that doesn't end up happening. But I think he's going to the UFC next, and I think PFL gave him every reason to. Again, you got a boss who won't give you a bonus for an amazing performance. You got a boss who just assumes you're going to be at the next fight. You got a boss that doesn't even bring up the next title challenger. And Usman just sort of called his bluff. Like, you do everything you can to keep Usman in check, right? Because it's Usman and it's Dakota. Those are your two big stars in the PFL. You'd maybe throw Johnny Eblin in there as well. He's got some personality. He's a fun fighter. But I think those are your two big fighters. And if you want to, compete or have an alternative MMA promotion that people will want to tune into, you need to keep your big stars. But I think that ship has sailed. Again, Usman has put his time in with Bellator, with PFL. I guess he's only had, 4 PFL fights, which isn't a ton, but you got to count those Bellator fights as well. Again, he's been fighting for Bellator since April of 2021. He's put his time in. It's time for him to get in the UFC and build the new star. And if he does leave, then you build the new star. That's how you do it. You don't bring back an ex-UFC fighter. You build up a new star and you make the next Usman Nurmagomedov. And they've got some guys. I mean, there was a guy on this card earlier tonight, Amuru Magomedov, who looked awesome. I mean, that's a guy. I mean, how old's he? I think he's a bit older. No, he's 27. I mean, that's a guy you should be building off of, right? So, yeah. I just think Jake Paul made things worse last night. I hope that can get fixed going forward because I want these guys to succeed and do well. I want MVP/PFL to have a good future here, but Jake Paul interjecting himself, making it about him, having this awkward exchange doesn't help anyone. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this. Absolute disaster here from Jake Paul, and I think Usman's going to the UFC. So your thoughts watching this, let me know in the comments your thoughts. Do you think Usman stays or he goes? Would love to hear from you. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.